Is Josh Heupel out for revenge versus OU? He had his press conference on Monday. I didn't think for a second that when it began, I thought he was not going to say Oklahoma like Butch Jones did the red team with Alabama. Well, Alabama responded by pounding the bleep out of him. And I really thought he was not going to say Oklahoma because he didn't for like the first 5 minutes. I was like, oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. And then he opened up, and I thought he was genuine. And we had a person on yesterday, John Hoover, who has covered Oklahoma for a number of years, and he said Josh Heupel's not like that. All that being said, man, I have a hard time believing that he wouldn't tack on an extra touchdown, that he doesn't want to make Oklahoma eat it. You?
Oh, I think he's looking for revenge in the worst way. I think he wants to win this game more than any he's ever coached. Wants to win it by as big a margin as he can. He's not going to say anything of that like that, of course. Most coaches are that way. You go back and you look at coaches, they'll remember things from when they were playing against another team. As a player, they'll remember things and will carry that in their coaching. I don't think Kirby Smart ever beat Tennessee when he was at Georgia.
He didn't. You're right. That's correct.
And he's doing pretty good against Tennessee now. I think he has an edge for that kind of game. I think most coaches are motivated by that. My goodness, and I've compared Josh Heupel to Steve Spurrier in a lot of ways, but you look at Steve Spurrier, I mean, I remember one year he beat LSU 59-3, and then made a remark after the game, well, couldn't get a second interview with those guys when he was trying to get the head coaching job at LSU. I remember when he hung 70 points on Bill Curry's Kentucky team, and he said, well, I wasn't good enough to be on Coach Curry's staff. When Curry got the job, I think it was at Georgia Tech, and Spurrier wasn't retained. No, these guys, they might not, well, Spurrier even said it. Most of them don't. But, yeah, I think he wants to win this in the worst way, and I think he'll score as many points as he can.
Caleb, there's no way in God's green earth that human nature you wouldn't want to go beat the absolute Jesus out of them.
Absolutely. And, I'm sure Jeremy Pruitt was looking for revenge on Georgia when Kirby Smart didn't retain him on staff and he took the job at Tennessee. I'm sorry.
Well, he led Georgia for half. I think that was pretty good for Jeremy. He could have just walked away right then and said, showed you, didn't I?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, take that, Kirby.
John, I think between Steve Spurrier, the people you brought up, I agree. I think they take things better. I think it goes deeper with Josh Heupel. It's not just that Bob Stoops let him go. It's Bob Stoops let him go because he wanted to scapegoat him for two things. One, to keep his brother from getting fired, who should have been fired at the time. But one of the things that I want to get your thoughts on this, we had John Hoover on yesterday, and apparently the reason that offense kind of sputtered in 2014 was because Bob Stoops fell in love with Johnny Manziel and forced Josh Heupel to move away from the air raid into an RPO offense so he can make Trevor Knight Johnny Manziel. And Josh Heupel kept fighting Bob Stoops, saying Trevor Knight can't do this. He's not Johnny Manziel. And Bob Stoops insisted he was. He wasn't. The offense sputtered. Bob Stoops fires Josh Heupel and then goes and hires Lincoln Riley to run the offense Josh Heupel wanted to run. Don't you think that makes him even angrier that happened?
Well, I mean, I don't have a first-hand source on what happened there. I've heard another side of it too, from Oklahoma people, and I don't know what actually happened. But when you look at what Bob Stoops did, he ended up with a better offense.
He did. He made the college football playoff the next year.
Yeah. So Lincoln Riley, great offensive coordinator. Josh Heupel, great offensive coordinator too. And I wonder if because Bob Stoops coached Josh Heupel, and Josh Heupel just kind of came up under Bob. He was a graduate assistant under Bob Stoops, and he coached tight ends, he coached quarterbacks, and he became co-offensive coordinator at Oklahoma. I think sometimes when coaches are in that situation, they still look, maybe he still looked at Josh Heupel as one of his players. I mean, that he's coaching. Whereas he brings in a guy from Lincoln Riley, he may be more apt to give him a free rein than the player he coached, who's now his assistant coach. I don't know. It's just, there may be nothing to that theory, but I have thought about that in other situations. When you coach a player, even though they later become your assistant coach or coordinator under you, still kind of look at them as your player. And it's like they need to learn more.
Okay, now I want to. You said something that really piqued my interest. You said you've heard another version from the Oklahoma side. I want to hear that. I want to remind people, work trucks, all about trucks that are actually available, trucks that help you maximize your profits by having the right work vehicle now. Time is money. The perfect work vehicle doesn't break down, has all the space to carry what you need. That's Work Trucks intent on offering, while other dealerships just can't do it. Contracting is about time. Work Trucks saves you time with less back and forth trips and trucks that pass the highest standards to be put to work. The process is quick and easy. Choosing a vehicle from Work Trucks. Check out those Work Trucks. Cargo vans, utility body trucks with an iPod, work bodies installed, pickup trucks of all sizes, and anything special like trains or dump trucks. Work Trucks supplies vehicles to people just like you. Get you back on the road tomorrow. No dealership runaround. And if you're a contractor, you need to know Work Trucks, and that's a fact. Service industry, Work Trucks. Work Trucks carries the trucks business has to have. Clinton Highway in Knoxville, downtown Birmingham. For the entire inventory, go right there, worktrucksllc.com. That's Work Trucks with an X. Don't risk your future in business on the wrong piece of equipment. Work Trucks with an X. They'll find the perfect truck, outfit it, make sure it fits your needs to a T. Proud supporter of the Tennessee Vols, Work Trucks. So you said you've heard a different version than we have, John, of why Josh Heupel was let go at Oklahoma. What's the other story?
Well, and I don't have a really good source on this. So, I mean, what you just laid out may be absolutely correct. It was just the idea that the offense was getting a little stagnant, and Bob Stoops wanted to revitalize it in and bring a different mindset into it. And again, that could get back to my theory. Sometimes when you have a player who later becomes your coach, you aren't as apt to give him a free rein as you are maybe somebody you bring in. But I don't know if that, I mean, what you guys heard yesterday, that's all speculative. And I don't think it really matters now, because I think the move worked out well for both programs. Oklahoma got better, went to the playoffs, didn't win a national championship though. And I think Josh Heupel got better as an offensive coordinator. And to your point, maybe Josh Heupel didn't have the freedom at Oklahoma that he had elsewhere. Maybe Bob Stoops kind of said, well, he's my player. He's come up through the ranks here, but I still gotta keep a hand on this. And Josh Heupel, nobody questions now what a great play caller he is. So, however it happened, I think Josh Heupel benefited from the switch, because maybe he would have never. We say a lot of people thought he was destined to be the head coach at Oklahoma. Maybe he wouldn't have been, and so it's worked out well for him.
All right, sorry about that, Caleb. I want you to jump in here. Our poll question is on YouTube. Will Josh Heupel pound Oklahoma if he can? Yes, it's personal. No, just another game. John, do you want to guess where it stands right now, percentage-wise?
I think most Tennessee fans are pretty skittish about this game and feel like it could be a blowout the other way with OU. Is that what your poll shows?
Will Josh Heupel pound Oklahoma if he can? 91% say yes, it's personal. No, just another game.
So, John,
go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, I guess the last question I'd ask on this topic is this, because Spurrier made it obvious. Spurrier didn't hide things. Would Josh Heupel make it obvious, or would he do it subtly? Like, okay, maybe I'm leaving Nico Iamaleava a drive longer than I should if the game's in hand. Or Maybe I'll throw a trick play in the third quarter when I'm already up by 3 scores.
Or maybe I'll try
An
an
onside
onside kick in the middle of a 37-point first quarter. They won't see that one coming. No, Josh Heupel he doesn't tip his hand. Yeah, he won't do it like Spurrier had to. Spurrier just didn't get revenge. He had so much fun getting revenge.
I know.
I mean, he made it. You know, if you're going to get revenge, isn't it best kind of just to show the whole world? I mean, I still that epic quote against Georgia after humbling Georgia there in Athens, and Steve Spurrier saying in the post-game press conference, well, man, Georgia recruits all these great players. I don't know what happens to them when they get here.
Direct shot at drunken man golf.
I've got a great line that Josh Heupel can steal if he wants to get more Spurrier-like. And how about say, after a big victory against Oklahoma on Saturday, he says well, it's a long season. You never know. We might see them in the college football playoffs sooner or later. Pretty good one.
Or he might say, he could say something about, even though we beat them handily, I still think Oklahoma's a bowl. I'll tell you that right now. They'll be playing in the postseason.
Max Arnold could win MVP of the Citrus Bowl, so their season's not over.
Jackson Arnold, not Max.
Jackson Arnold. Max Arnold is a trainer for Tennessee.